yìí ní Ògùtà nígbà tó ń ṣíde gbígbẹ́ omi adágún Ògùtà.
Sir.
You saw that twice so that the picture can be clearer. That's the tip of the iceberg of the kind of conditions, working environment, and then the lives of the workers in the establishment, parastatal structures and systems of this country. The risk they take to ensuring that they do their job. The hazardous working condition. Without insurance or any form of cover, that's them. And you will be surprised that these people will not be paid. Maybe this particular newscaster may not even be a full-blown staff, maybe a contract staff, or maybe an intern. That's what the Nigerian government has reduced Nigerian people to. 21st century slavery. We complain that the white people came here to take slaves of us. But these days, if our government make us slaves compulsorily in our own country. A lot of us are refugees in this country. Our houses are IDP camps, in case you don't know. Yet, there are government officials who are living large upon the sweat of Nigerians who are working day and night. It's a bigger picture, my brother. So when we say we are seeking for qualitative leadership for a country like ours, we know what we are talking about. A government that is not subservient to any form of international projections on human rights, which they violate everything. No protection whatsoever. In other clans, the hen that lays the golden egg is protected and preserved so that it can become more productive. But in this country, that hen is meat, sucked, dried, drained, till the hen dies and start to look for another hen. That's why white people are asking what next after oil. But these guys who are daft, inept, inefficient, unschooled, uneducated, are saying they must continue to suck. Is that not why the Niger Delta states have been crying that they should increase the 13% oil derivation? But no, you shouldn't be looking to. You are going to suck and dry the hen that lays the golden egg. Why even lay and you will regret it? As the workers currently, as I talk to you, in case you are not aware, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, is on a 5-day warning strike as I talk to you. Our health sector is total in collapse. They are requesting for several things, including a 200% pay rise. They withdraw of that wicked, useless bill on the floor of the House of Rep, seeking to put them on a compulsory 5 years work as intern until before they'll be given license, before they can travel abroad to work anywhere. Whereas the working condition here is in disarray, is an embarrassment. I've been told that Nigerian doctors are part of the least paid doctors anywhere in the world. Upon all the effort that they put in. If you have trained a doctor in your family, you know what that means. You know what it means to train a doctor. Yet, Dr. Chris Ngige, Senator Dr. I deliberately have to use the doctor in his name, who is a doctor, but now on the opposing side, now on the enemy camp, he's saying that Nigerian workers are entitled. Haba!
That's absurd. That's absurd. That the entitlement syndrome, the sense of entitlement is too much. Ruben, the issue is that people in Nigeria don't like to obey laws. The statutes are there. The laws of the country are there. If you even try to enforce the law, you look odd. I'm an odd man today because I have enforced Section 43 of the Trade Disputes Act, which says that if a worker withdraws his services, he will be not entitled to any pay. That is the right to go on strike. It's allowed. You can go on strike. You can go on strike. But your employer has the right to keep that money that is due to you. And if you're on essential services, employ people to keep the services running. It's in their ILO statute books and principles on strike. Right to strike is there. unions and workers' unions are supposed to keep what is called strike fund. They use the strike fund to pay their workers when they're on strike. All over the world, that's what is being done, except in Nigeria. Even the little African countries you see, and even as the big ones, South Africa, their workers have strike fund from which you pay your workers when they go on strike. And that is to mean that the last option is a strike. And in some other climes too, in those other climes, before you go on strike, you call a Congress, call your workers, and they vote. And they vote also on the number of days it will last. That's why you see the things 4 days, 3 days, 7 days, highest abroad. Over here, you see a strike of 9 months. And they come back and open their hand and say, pay me. 4 months, they come back and say, pay me. And it has been happening before. And I said no last year because we have these laws. If we don't need these laws, we go to National Assembly and repeal them. Or throw them into the dustbin. So these laws are there. If you go on strike, you won't receive any money. You will not. Your union should pay you. That is the law. It's an ILO principles at work. It's in Nigerian law, Trade Dispute Act, Section 43, 43.1, and 43.2. Dealt with everything on strike, period of strike. As a matter of fact, 43.2 said that when you're on strike, apart from that pay, the period of the strike should not count as part of your pensionable period at work. It's there. That leg, you have not applied it. Maybe the next government or the next labor minister will apply it. I'm just trying to show human face. Since 2016, I have not applied it. I applied it once in 2018 with the health workers. Asked them. For 3 months, 4 months they were on strike. We paid them for the 1 month. They continued. We held the money for 3 months. That's why we have some sanity in the health sector. So if these doctors, the National Association of Resident Doctors, who we have been managing their matter, I'm a doctor. My children are in doctors. They are in NRD. And we have been managing their matter. We have given them everything they want, including their residency training program fund, appropriated it. We are paying them. Even while in training as residents, medical residents trying to graduate to be specialists. It's not done anywhere in the world that you do a residency training fund, pay for the exam fee, pay them transport to go to exam and come back, give them some other allowances with it, pay them full salary on a grade level wage structure of commerce, pay them all the allowances, call duty, hazard, inducement, and what have you. And you decide that we are not done enough. Like I said before, you have an option to go. Yes. It is left for the education ministry and the universities to fashion out, the health ministry to fashion out what they can do. Where we now train people free of charge because they pay 48,000 to 50,000 a session for medical training. Whereas their counterpart abroad pays $100,000 a session, and in the UK they pay £80,000. They borrow the money from the bank, and when they graduate as medical doctors, they are paying back. That's why they are not even leaving their country. And here we train you free. I obtained that free training. In fact, my own, I was even on scholarship. So why won't I be patriotic to serve my country? So you ask that the bill taken to National Assembly by a member be removed. That's one of the reasons why you want to go on strike. How can government tell a member who has done a private member's bill? Private member's bill. It's not even an executive bill. You now list it as one of the conditions for going on strike. That's absurd. That's absurd. The entitlement syndrome, the sense of entitlement is too much in this country.
Well,
like I said earlier, you obey the law, you look odd. You apply the law, you look odd, or you're a wicked man. I don't have any apologies for whatever I've done in the management of trade disputes. No single apologies.
On that note,
no single one.
Say they are entitled, they don't deserve what they are requesting for. That the federal government has done too much for them even. That's what he said. God forbid, oh, God forbid. It's painful. Some of you are seeing smaller pictures because we are campaigning for this candidate. The picture we are seeing in our head is engage somebody that will be responsible and accountable to the people. That will not employ people like this who should not even deserve to be walking in the streets. They should be put into the prisons because their mindset and mentality. The same Nigerian political class that comes to office and spend 4 years, some of them as need you. Echeba, what did, oh God. There's a certain Patricia Ete that was Speaker of the House of Rep one time. To change furniture in our chambers, we know how much was spent. There are people who will work for 35 years in this government as public servant and civil servant, and they cannot boast of any form of investment, not even a house. When we talk, you think that we are joking. As a young man who saw my father work to this country, worked and died in active service, moving around with files, seeking for help for you to even extract the things he has labored for. Yeah, it's not everything you see on social media, but God knows that if you have, some of us, is either you are blatantly ignorant, or you are consciously blind to thinking that there is a country that this country is working. You have to be blatantly ignorant, or you have to be blind consciously to think that this country is working. Go around and see the bureaucracy that government has created. You cannot even extract the benefit of a man that worked and died in service. I will sit here and let my children work for this government, work for this country. God forbid. So Ngige said that they are entitled. Whereas a man that has worked in public service for 35 years cannot compete with their weight that a 4-year, somebody that just walked into an office, sometimes without certificate and without qualification, for 4 years we get. How many doctors can afford to take their families abroad for vacation? How many doctors can afford to take their families abroad for medical checkup or for even education abroad? How many? But these politicians without base, without education, without capacity, without character, they are amassing wealth. I personally empathize and sympathize with the Ekweremadus. I empathize and sympathize with them. It's unfortunate that they have to go through that. But how many Nigerians can afford taking their families abroad for transplants? How many? He's a politician. He deserves it, Abi. What is good for the goose is good for the gander.
That's absurd. That's absurd. That the entitlement syndrome, the sense of entitlement is too much.
You heard him. You don't hear him. You heard him. You heard him, Ngige. You have heard him. He said they are entitled. Entitlement spirit. Entitlement mentality. Una too they ask, what do you deserve? Which work una they work? Whereas you sit in office, as minister, listen, you are a ceremonial head. In fact, you are just a public show off. The real work is done by the permanent secretary in that ministry. But we have ceremonial heads who will write millions and billions from themselves, from every small opportunity. Whereas the people that are laying the golden egg, really doing the work. It was not Femi Adesina some days ago, senior special assistant to the president, that said that government are not supposed to provide a job. We know. But as government provided the enabling environment for private investors, we go to thrive. We don't have power till today. In 2023, we cannot boast of power, and government is not supposed to provide job. It's unfortunate. This crop of people, I don't know how they gather this crop of inept, ineffective, wicked, biased, barbaric people together in a party. Say they're in the government sector, and you are supporting them. Now they cry. Now because we want better governance. It will go round. Uremadu thought he was immune against this. It will go round. Good night.
Oguta.
That's absurd. That's absurd. That the entitlement syndrome, the sense of entitlement is too much.